Have you ever felt a strange tension behind someone's smile? Like their words say I'm happy for you, but something deeper doesn't sit right? It's a feeling you can't quite explain, a quiet whisper in your gut that says, this isn't real. Most people ignore that whisper. They brush it off, tell themselves not to overthink it, and smile back. But that whisper is truth trying to speak. It's the first signal that someone close might not be what they seem. And if you keep ignoring it, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who clap for you in public but hope for your fall in silence. In a world obsessed with appearances, envy and falsehood hide behind the most charming masks. It's not the obvious enemies you need to fear. It's the ones who stand beside you, pretending to celebrate your growth, while secretly feeling threatened by your rise. They're the ones who never miss a chance to tell you they're proud, but watch closely. Their energy is off. Their words are polished, but their tone lacks warmth. Their eyes don't shine when they talk about your success. These are not your people. They are mirrors of insecurity, reflecting back their own fears disguised as friendship. The truth is, not everyone around you wants to see you win, and that's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to see it. Envy is a silent killer of connection. It eats away at authenticity and replaces it with pretense. Falsehood doesn't always scream lies. It often whispers them, dressed in support, layered in politeness. The longer you ignore the signs, the deeper the damage. Because while you're opening your heart, they're studying your weaknesses. While you're celebrating your wins, they're calculating how to shrink you down. That's why awareness is power. This isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone. It's about becoming deeply aligned with your own emotional radar. Your instincts are wiser than your doubt. They've been gathering information long before your mind catches on. When someone's presence feels heavy, when their compliments drain instead of uplift, don't look away. That's your spirit trying to protect you. Trust it, because the faster you learn to see through the mask, the faster you can build a life surrounded by real ones. If you've ever been burned by someone you trusted, this message is your healing. If you've ever questioned your worth because of someone's passive aggression or sudden distance, this message is your clarity. And if you've ever dimmed your light to make others more comfortable, this message is your wake-up call. You're not imagining the shift. You're not overreacting. You're evolving. And with evolution comes exposure. Envy will reveal itself. Falsehood will crumble. But only if you're willing to see it. Stay with this message. Because by the end, you won't just recognize the people who pretend. You'll know exactly how to rise above them without losing your peace, your power, or your purpose. Envy doesn't always come wrapped in anger or obvious resentment. Sometimes, it shows up quietly, disguised as comparison, hidden behind forced smiles and hollow congratulations. When someone sees you rise, they start questioning their own reflection. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your growth holds up a mirror to everything they've avoided in themselves. That's when the shift happens. Not in what they say, but in how they act. Conversations become shorter. Support grows silent. Their presence feels heavier, colder, and suddenly the bond that once felt close starts to fracture without a single fight. This is the quiet fallout of envy. When people are deeply insecure, your progress becomes their pain. Your wins become their wounds. And instead of working on themselves, they focus on finding flaws in you. This isn't logic, it's emotion. It's the psychological need to balance an inner sense of failure by pulling down what threatens it. And the target is often the one shining, the one evolving, the one breaking the mold, you. That's why you need to be careful when your light gets brighter. Because the ones who are still stuck in the dark might not cheer. They might chase your glow, only to try and smother it. The human mind hates discomfort. And nothing creates more discomfort for an unhealed person than watching someone else do what they've been afraid to do. Level up, take risks, speak truth, heal. That's why envy often comes from the people who once said they loved you. Friends, family, colleagues. Because your courage confronts their fear. Your strength unsettles their doubt. And instead of asking themselves, how can I grow too? They silently ask, why not me? That's the question that turns admiration into bitterness. And if you're not awake to it, you'll keep mistaking their discomfort for your mistake. You don't owe anyone an apology for outgrowing the version of you they were comfortable with. You don't have to shrink just because your growth threatens their comfort zone. It's not your job to make others feel secure in their stagnation. Your only responsibility is to keep growing, even if it means outgrowing people who once clapped for you. Because the ones who truly care won't get quieter when you succeed. They'll get louder, They won't compare, compete, or criticize. They'll stand beside you, not behind you with silent jealousy. The hardest truth to accept is that not everyone who starts the journey with you is meant to finish it. Some are there only to teach you discernment, to show you how to read energy, not just words, to train your instincts so you stop giving access to people who only come close to measure your shine. And when you learn this truth, something inside you changes. You stop begging for loyalty. You stop seeking validation. You stop wondering why they're distant. You finally understand it's not about you, it's about what your light reveals in them. And that truth will set you free. The moment you stop explaining your success is the moment you start protecting your peace. You don't have to justify your ambition, your discipline, or your decisions to anyone, especially not to those who are secretly rooting for your failure. Their discomfort is not your burden to carry. Their envy is not your problem to solve. You were not born to play small so others feel tall. You were born to rise, and the higher you go, the more clearly you'll see who's clapping and who's quietly counting your steps backward. People with genuine hearts never compete. They don't measure your life against theirs. They don't get bitter when you win, because they know success isn't a limited resource. But people who live in silent resentment will always find a reason to discredit your rise. They'll minimize your effort. They'll label your confidence as arrogance. They'll twist your growth into selfishness. And they'll try to convince you that you've changed not because you've become someone worse, but because you've become someone they can no longer control. That's the truth many won't tell you. Envy doesn't seek understanding. It seeks leverage. And the moment it loses control, it turns cold. So how do you deal with it? You stop trying to prove your worth. You stop pouring energy into relationships that drain you. You start recognizing that not every bond is meant to last, and not every presence in your life is a blessing. Some are tests. Tests to see if you've learned to value yourself enough to walk away from what no longer aligns. You don't fight envy with more attention. You fight it with distance. Not out of hate, but out of wisdom. Because sometimes the most powerful move is silence. Not every reaction deserves your voice. Not every false smile needs to be confronted. The most dangerous kind of envy hides in politeness, in surface-level kindness that feels just a little too forced. And here's the shift that changes everything. You start choosing energy over history. You stop holding on just because you've known someone for years. You stop excusing red flags because of shared memories. You begin to realize that longevity doesn't equal loyalty. That time doesn't make a bond true, truth does. And when you feel something is off, even if you can't prove it, you give yourself permission to pull back. You don't wait for betrayal to validate your intuition. You trust that your peace is worth more than keeping appearances. The people meant for you won't be intimidated by your glow. They'll stand in it with you. They'll celebrate your steps, no matter how far ahead you go. They won't shrink when you shine. They'll rise with you. That's how you know the difference. And when you know, you move different. You protect your space, your energy, your mission. Because your purpose is not up for debate. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to become everything they said you couldn't. And that journey starts with seeing clearly. Clarity is the most dangerous gift you can carry. Because once you see through people, you can never unsee what's been revealed. The mask slips, the energy shifts. The tone behind their words starts to echo differently. And suddenly, what once felt like support starts to feel like surveillance. You notice how their excitement sounds rehearsed. How their encouragement comes with an undertone of warning. How they only reach out when they need information, not connection. That's not love. That's monitoring. That's envy dressed in false concern. And it's time you stop calling it loyalty. The moment you develop emotional awareness is the moment manipulation loses its grip. You stop getting pulled into guilt. You stop allowing people to weaponize your empathy. You realize that love is not meant to make you feel small, confused, or indebted. True connection expands you. It makes you feel safe to grow, to speak, to shine. But falsehood always leaves you questioning yourself. You walk away from conversations wondering if you said too much, gave too much, trusted too fast. That's not a connection. That's a warning. When someone's presence repeatedly makes you doubt your own energy, your intuition is speaking, loud and clear. The reason it's hard to walk away from these people is because you once saw the good in them. You connected with their potential, not their patterns. But here's the truth. Potential is just a promise. And if someone refuses to grow, refuses to own their envy, and continues to wear a mask, it is not your job to wait around for them to change. You are not their rehab center. You are not their emotional shelter. You are allowed to protect your peace, even from people you once loved deeply. People who truly care about you won't feel the need to control you. They won't be uncomfortable with your evolution. They won't disappear when you rise. They'll grow with you. They'll celebrate with you. They'll challenge you, but never from a place of insecurity. And they will never compete with you in secret. So when you feel someone is acting out of character, when their energy feels misaligned, you owe it to yourself to listen, not to judge, not to hate, but to protect. Because discernment isn't negativity, it's wisdom. And wisdom is what keeps your vision clear while your heart remains open. You weren't meant to live a life of pretending everything's okay just to keep the peace. You weren't born to shrink so others don't feel insecure. You're here to live with full intensity, with full purpose, with full power. But to do that, you must learn the difference between real and fake, between love and envy, between presence and performance. Your peace depends on it, and your future is built on the clarity you choose today. Stay sharp, stay grounded. And remember, your energy is currency. Spend it where it's valued, not just where it's familiar. That's how you protect your future. That's how you rise. Your energy is not random. It's sacred. And when you begin to treat it that way, everything changes. You stop forcing conversations that feel heavy. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop apologizing for being aware. Because awareness isn't harsh. It's protective. It shows you who's for you and who's just around you. Not everyone present is present with good intentions. Some are simply spectators, waiting for the moment you fall, hoping the cracks in your foundation grow wide enough for them to climb over. That's not paranoia. That's discernment sharpened by experience. Envy doesn't always show up as hatred. Sometimes it hides in fake praise, in delayed responses, in that strange silence when something good happens for you. You'll notice they never ask how you did it, never ask what it took. Because deep down, they don't want the blueprint. They want the collapse. They want the outcome to change without having to witness your strength. And when they can't stand next to your light, they try to dim it through whispers, through subtle shade, through backhanded compliments that sting more than they support. That's the poison of falsehood. It doesn't announce itself. It seeps in slowly, clouding your space until it feels normal. But here's where you reclaim power. You stop needing applause from the wrong crowd. You stop handing out VIP access to people who wouldn't wait in line for you. You build stronger boundaries, not walls, but firm filters. Filters that keep your energy aligned, your mission protected, and your heart guarded. You're not closing off, you're refining your circle. Because success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you allow to witness your becoming. You're not obligated to take everyone with you. Growth exposes misalignment, and when your frequency rises, not everyone will tune in. Some will disconnect. Let them. It takes courage to walk alone. But it takes even more strength to protect your purpose while being watched by eyes that don't celebrate you. You must be anchored in who you are. Solid in your intentions, clear in your direction. Because the more you grow, the more you'll attract two types of people, those who mirror your fire and those who fear it. Learn to know the difference without guilt. The world doesn't need you diluted, it needs you focused, fully alive, fully awake. Stop shrinking to soothe the discomfort of those who never had the courage to rise. Your light isn't too much, their insecurity is too loud. And when you stop apologizing for being powerful, you give others permission to rise too. But only the ones who are ready. The rest will fade, and that's okay. Because you're not building your future on false connections. You're building it on truth, on alignment, on authenticity. And that journey doesn't begin in noise. It begins in clarity. Protect your peace. Honor your growth. And never forget, what threatens others about you is exactly what makes you unstoppable. Keep moving, keep rising. When you stop chasing validation, you start attracting truth. You begin to see that not everyone who claps is rooting for you. Some are clapping just loud enough to distract you, just long enough to stay close, hoping your confidence crumbles under the weight of their silent resentment. Envy is not always loud. It doesn't always look like confrontation. Sometimes it looks like distance when you succeed, withdrawal when you shine, or passive silence when you rise. And if you're not careful, you'll mistake that silence for peace. But silence isn't always golden. Sometimes it's a signal, a warning, a mirror reflecting energy that no longer belongs near you. You were not created to stay small for the comfort of others. You were made to rise, to expand, to lead. But to do that, you must become sensitive to the hidden motives that try to anchor your progress. Not all resistance is external. Sometimes it shows up in conversations masked as concern, in subtle criticisms labeled as advice, in fake unity that fractures the moment you step into your power. These patterns are not coincidences. They are clues. And if you continue to ignore them, you allow poison to linger in your proximity. You allow insecurity to sit in the front row of your journey. That stops now. Recognizing envy requires self-respect. You must believe you're worth protecting. You must believe your time, your peace, your growth deserve sacred boundaries, because those who truly value you will never compete with you. They won't try to match your pace, they'll cheer for your path. Real support feels light, not heavy. It feels safe, not confusing. It allows you to be fully seen without judgment, without envy, without manipulation. When people love you, your success doesn't threaten them. It inspires them. But when people secretly resent you, every win you experience feels like a loss to them. That's not your burden to carry. That's their wound to heal. You don't owe access to everyone who once stood beside you. Growth reveals who's really for you, not just near you. And the more you evolve, the clearer that truth becomes. Stop giving energy to people who drain your spirit. Stop waiting for the moment they finally clap without hesitation. That moment might never come, and even if it does, it shouldn't define your worth. Your journey isn't about their comfort. It's about your truth, your future, your purpose. You're built for alignment, not approval. Let clarity become your compass. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't explain it away. Don't water it down. Honor it. You have intuition for a reason. Trust it. Use it. Because the moment you start protecting your peace without apology is the moment you begin living on your own terms. And the louder your peace becomes, the more silent falsehood grows. That's your signal. Keep walking forward. Keep cutting ties with anything that doesn't honor your light. You're not here to fit in. You're here to break through, relentlessly, fearlessly, unapologetically. If someone can only love the version of you that plays small, they don't love you. They love control. And control disguised as connection is the most dangerous illusion. It keeps you quiet when you should be bold. It keeps you doubting when you should be deciding. It keeps you shrinking to make someone else feel comfortable in your presence. But that version of you, the one who second guesses their greatness to keep the peace, is not your true self. That's the product of proximity to people who pretend to care, but fear your power. People who smile when you're stuck and go silent when you evolve. That kind of energy doesn't deserve a front row seat in your life. You've come too far to let hidden envy sabotage your growth. You've fought battles in silence, healed wounds no one saw, and risen from disappointments that could have broken you. You didn't do all of that just to go back to pleasing people who are threatened by your glow. You were not born to dull your light so others can feel bright. You were born to be seen without shame. And the moment you embrace that, you stop begging for spaces to belong. You start building spaces where you thrive. Recognizing falsehood in others starts with being true to yourself. You can't spot manipulation when you're still seeking permission. You can't detect envy if you crave acceptance more than alignment. You have to want truth more than comfort. And truth doesn't always feel good at first. Sometimes it looks like distance. Sometimes it feels like losing people you thought would be forever. But what you lose in numbers, you gain in clarity, and clarity is freedom. It teaches you that not everyone is meant to walk beside you, and that's not a failure. That's protection. You don't need to keep explaining your decisions to people committed to misunderstanding your journey. If someone truly supports you, they won't need endless explanations. They'll feel your growth and respect it. The ones who question your worth when you set boundaries were never invested in your well-being. They were invested in your compliance. But your new season demands that you stop living in reaction and start living in intention. Stop hoping people will see the best in you and start seeing the truth in them. Their energy speaks louder than their words. Watch what shifts when you win. Watch who disappears when you no longer need saving. You're not obligated to stay loyal to confusion. You're allowed to walk away from anything that forces you to betray your intuition. The more honest you are with yourself, the easier it becomes to recognize what no longer serves you. And when you begin to live in truth, envy becomes obvious. Falsehood becomes unbearable. You don't need proof to leave what drains you. You need peace. And peace begins when you stop apologizing for protecting your soul. Keep rising. Keep cutting ties with anything that delays your destiny. You're not here to be accepted. You're here to be aligned. Stay sharp. Stay awake. Stay unstoppable. Not everyone who stands beside you is standing with you. And that realization can feel like betrayal, until you understand its liberation. The weight you've been carrying isn't always your own. Sometimes it's the silent expectations of others. Expectations to stay the same, to be predictable, to make yourself small so they don't have to confront their own lack of progress. But you weren't created to be manageable. You weren't created to blend in. You are meant to stretch, evolve, rise, and leave behind what no longer fits. The moment you stop shrinking to make others comfortable is the moment your real life begins. It takes courage to acknowledge the people you trusted are uncomfortable with your growth. But pretending not to see it only delays the breakthrough you were born for. Envy doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Sometimes it hides in jokes that cut a little too deep, in support that feels forced, in conversations that leave you questioning your worth. It's subtle, but it's real. And the longer you deny it, the more power it holds. Recognition is the first step to release. Once you see it for what it is, you're no longer bound by it. You can stop trying to prove yourself to people who never truly saw you in the first place. The truth is, the more you elevate, the more you intimidate those who refuse to do the inner work. Your clarity threatens their confusion. Your discipline highlights their excuses. Your peace makes their chaos uncomfortable. That's not your fault. It's your frequency. When you vibrate higher, people have two choices: rise with you or remove themselves. Don't chase anyone who chooses to fall back. That's not loss. That's alignment. Let it be. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that makes them feel better about staying stuck. Your destiny demands honesty. If someone's presence drains you more than it empowers you, that's not friendship. It's proximity rooted in fear. And fear has no place in your future. You're evolving. That means not everything or everyone can come with you. Some connections were only meant for a version of you that no longer exists. Let that truth free you, not break you. You are not abandoning people, you are honoring growth. There's a difference. When you stop entertaining what drains you, you make room for what fuels you. The friendships that challenge you to grow, the energy that nurtures your purpose, the silence that strengthens your spirit. This is your season to become unavailable to anything that dims your fire. You were not born to tolerate hidden resentment. You were born to walk in truth, to shine without permission, to rise without guilt. The moment you embrace that, everything shifts. Your circle shifts, your mind sharpens, your life expands, and the envy that once lingered around you begins to suffocate in the presence of your strength. Keep standing tall, keep guarding your peace, because when you do, falsehood reveals itself, and once you see clearly, you'll never unsee it again. Sometimes the people who resent you the most are the ones who watched you grow in silence. Not because you did anything to harm them, but because your progress reminded them of everything they chose not to become. It's not your confidence that bothers them, it's the mirror it holds up to their insecurity. When you operate in truth, it reveals who is committed to authenticity and who is clinging to illusion. That's why as you evolve, you begin to notice who grows quiet, who withdraws, who can't look you in the eyes anymore. These aren't coincidences. They are emotional signals. They are quiet exits dressed in politeness. When someone constantly minimizes your voice, questions your goals, or subtly redirects attention away from your growth, they're not neutral, they're threatened. Real support isn't jealous, it's proud. It doesn't compete, it celebrates. And when people can't bring themselves to clap for you, you don't need to stay long enough to convince them. Your presence isn't an offering to be tolerated, it's a force. And it deserves to be met with honesty, not hidden resentment. One of the most powerful acts of self-respect is learning to disengage from energy that disrespects your evolution. You don't need permission to protect your peace. You don't need validation to choose your truth. When you finally recognize how long you've kept people close out of guilt, fear, or habit, you'll understand why your spirit felt heavy. It wasn't just the situation, it was the suppression, the pretending, the constant internal war between loyalty and alignment. But the longer you betray your intuition, the harder it becomes to hear it. And your intuition is your power. It's how you spot the masks. It's how you detect the lies without evidence. It's how you sense what's not being said. Trust it, even if it leads you away from familiar faces. Even if it breaks a connection you thought would last forever. Let it guide you through the discomfort. Because on the other side of discomfort is clarity. And clarity is a gift. It doesn't just show you who others are, it shows you who you've become. The version of you that no longer needs to be liked by everyone. The version of you that honors discomfort if it means protecting your truth. The version of you that would rather stand alone in peace than stand together in pretense. Your growth will offend the people who refuse to heal. Let it. That offense is not your burden, it's their awakening, if they choose to accept it. But their growth is not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to stay rooted in who you are becoming. And the more deeply you live in alignment, the easier it becomes to recognize what doesn't belong in your world. You don't need evidence to feel energy. You don't need a reason to create space. The moment you sense resistance, that's enough. Your spirit is not wrong. Your sensitivity is not weakness. It's intelligence. Protect it, honor it, and keep walking forward, no matter who stays behind. The most dangerous lies are not always spoken out loud. They are the silent whispers behind your back, the disguised compliments that carry poison, the smiles that don't reach the eyes. These falsehoods are like shadows creeping into your light, eroding your confidence one doubt at a time. They are crafted to confuse, to destabilize, to make you question everything you know about yourself. Learning to recognize these subtle betrayals is an act of self-preservation. It means tuning into the uncomfortable sensations, those little nudges in your gut that tell you something isn't right. Your instincts are the frontline defenders of your truth. They don't need loud alarms. They work quietly, persistently. When you start paying attention to what your body and mind tell you, you reclaim control over your reality. Falsehood thrives in the space of uncertainty. When you aren't clear about your boundaries, when you tolerate inconsistencies in how others treat you, lies gain power. They flourish because you've allowed room for doubt to enter your life. You don't have to accept confusion as a normal state. Clarity is your right, your responsibility, your shield. Being firm with your truth doesn't mean cutting others off without cause. It means refusing to participate in the distortion of your reality. It means calling out the subtle manipulations and refusing to let them settle into your psyche. When you demand honesty from others, you reinforce honesty within yourself. This internal commitment transforms your entire world. It is essential to understand that recognizing falsehood isn't about becoming cynical or suspicious. It's about becoming wise and discerning. It's about distinguishing between those who add value to your life and those who drain it through deceit, no matter how well hidden. Falsehoods often come wrapped in kindness, making them harder to detect. But kindness without consistency is a warning sign. If someone's words don't match their actions, if they promise but never deliver, you must listen closely. Your mind deserves peace, not puzzles. You deserve people who align with your values, not those who mask their true intentions with sweet words. When you allow yourself to see falsehood clearly, it's not an act of judgment, it's an act of liberation. You break free from illusions that held you captive. You stop investing emotional energy in people who don't deserve it. You begin to conserve your strength for what truly matters, your growth, your dreams, your peace. Falsehood feeds on your silence. Your power grows when you refuse to stay silent about how you are treated. Setting clear, unshakable boundaries protects your heart. It teaches others how to honor you, and most importantly, it teaches you how to honor yourself. Choosing truth over falsehood requires courage, especially when the lies come from those closest to you. But courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else is more important than fear. Your integrity is that something else. Your peace is that something else. When you prioritize your truth, you attract the right energy, the right connections, the right opportunities. You create a life where falsehood has no place because your presence is a beacon of authenticity. This transformation is within reach. It begins the moment you decide you will no longer accept less than you deserve. Your soul has been waiting for this moment. Answer the call. The truth has a magnetic quality that falsehoods can never replicate. When you live in alignment with your authentic self, you naturally attract people and opportunities that resonate with your deepest values. This magnetic force grows stronger when you release the weight of envy and deceit from your life. Envy and falsehood act like invisible chains, binding your spirit to fear, doubt, and insecurity. But every time you choose clarity over confusion, you break another link. You move closer to freedom, a freedom that empowers you to pursue your highest purpose without hesitation or compromise. It is vital to remember that the presence of envy and falsehood around you is not a reflection of your worth. Often, these negative energies arise because others are struggling with their own insecurities and unhealed wounds. They project their pain outward, hoping to diminish your light to feel better about themselves. But your value is not determined by how others perceive you or what they say behind your back. Your worth is intrinsic, unshakable, and independent of external noise. When you anchor yourself in this truth, envy loses its grip, and falsehoods lose their power to penetrate your heart. Learning to recognize envy and falsehood in others requires you to develop a heightened sense of emotional intelligence. This means tuning into the subtle energy shifts, the inconsistencies in tone, body language, and behavior. It's about trusting your intuition when something feels off, even if you cannot immediately put it into words. This inner wisdom is a gift that grows stronger with practice. Each time you acknowledge it, you reinforce your ability to protect yourself from emotional harm. It is not about becoming guarded or closed off. It is about creating a sanctuary where your spirit can thrive unthreatened. The courage to confront envy and falsehood also involves self-reflection. It asks you to examine your own responses to these energies. Do you react out of fear or calm awareness? Do you let the negativity invade your mind, or do you rise above it with confidence and grace? You have the power to choose how these forces impact your inner world. When you respond from a place of strength, you deny envy and falsehood the fuel they need to grow. You reclaim your narrative, making it clear that your peace and progress are non-negotiable. There's a profound liberation in refusing to let envy and falsehood define your relationships. It means surrounding yourself with those who celebrate your success genuinely and communicate with honesty and respect. These relationships nourish your soul and inspire you to become your best self. When you prioritize authenticity, you create an environment where truth flourishes and deception withers away. This shift transforms your entire experience of connection, from shallow and draining to deep and fulfilling. Every step you take toward recognizing and releasing envy and falsehood is a step toward reclaiming your power. It's a journey that demands patience, resilience, and unwavering commitment to your well-being. But the reward is immeasurable. You will discover a life where your energy is preserved, your mind is clear, and your heart is free to love without fear. This is the life you were meant to live, the life that awaits when you choose to see clearly, act boldly, and stand firmly in your truth. The moment to embrace this transformation is now. Your future self will thank you for it. Your mind is the battlefield where the war between truth and deception is fought. Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, becomes the foundation upon which your reality is built. If you allow falsehoods, whether whispered by others or echoed from within, to take root, your world becomes unstable, fragile, a house of cards vulnerable to collapse. But when you commit to unwavering truth, when you choose clarity over confusion and authenticity over pretense, you build a fortress of strength and resilience that cannot be shaken. This fortress begins with one simple but profound act: choosing to believe in yourself without hesitation. The power to reject lies and envy starts there, within the core of your being, in the sacred space where your self-worth resides. You must guard this space fiercely, for it is the source of everything you desire. When doubt creeps in, question it. When fear whispers that you are not enough, challenge it. These internal battles are not signs of weakness but opportunities to forge an unbreakable spirit. Each time you refuse to surrender to negativity, you reinforce your resilience. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than the doubts that try to consume you. This daily practice of self-affirmation, of unwavering commitment to your truth, becomes the bedrock of your transformation. It rewires your brain to recognize your value as unassailable, no matter what external forces attempt to convince you otherwise. Your emotions are allies in this process, not enemies to be silenced or ignored. When you feel hurt by lies or stung by envy, acknowledge the pain fully. Do not dismiss it or pretend it does not exist. Embracing your emotions with honesty allows you to process them, to release them without carrying their toxic weight forward. This emotional clarity is essential for healing. It prevents the accumulation of resentment and bitterness, which are the fertile ground in which falsehoods thrive. Instead, you cultivate peace, a calm center from which you can observe and respond rather than react impulsively. This calm is not passive, it is an active, deliberate state of strength. The environment you create around yourself shapes your internal world more than you realize. When you surround yourself with authenticity, with people who reflect your values and respect your boundaries, you nurture a space where your spirit can expand freely. Toxicity has no place here. Falsehoods are unable to take root, where honesty and integrity are the norms. Cultivating this environment requires discernment and courage. It means sometimes walking away from what feels familiar, but no longer serves your highest good. It means choosing solitude over compromise and peace over approval. This choice is an act of radical self-love, a declaration that your well-being is paramount. Transformation is not a destination but a continuous journey. Every moment you choose truth, you ascend. Every boundary you enforce, you gain clarity. Every act of self-respect you practice, you reclaim your power. The energy you invest in this process is never wasted. It compounds, building momentum that propels you toward a life of deeper fulfillment and unshakable confidence. Your commitment to this path is a beacon, illuminating the way not only for yourself, but for others who witness your courage. Embrace this power without hesitation. Stand firmly in your truth, and watch how your entire world begins to align with the extraordinary person you are destined to become. Every time you feel the urge to explain yourself, to justify your choices to those who doubt you, recognize that this impulse is a sign you are handing away your power. When you allow others' judgments to dictate your peace, you become captive to their opinions instead of sovereign in your own life. The need to explain, to prove your worth, often stems from a deep insecurity, a fear that you are not enough as you are. But the truth is, you are complete right now. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your dreams, your boundaries, or the way you choose to live your life. Embracing this truth is one of the most liberating steps you can take towards self-mastery. Let go of the exhausting cycle of seeking approval. This is not about arrogance or disconnection from others. It is about honoring the reality that your self-worth comes from within, not from external validation. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your time and energy. You no longer waste precious moments reacting to criticism or trying to fix misunderstandings that arise from others' limited perspectives. Instead, you focus on what truly matters, growing, healing, and becoming the best version of yourself. This shift creates space for peace to enter your life, a peace that no outside voice can shake. The energy you save by not explaining yourself is transformative. It fuels your inner fire, empowering you to pursue your goals with relentless focus. You begin to notice how much freedom there is in silence, in holding your ground without feeling the need to defend it. This freedom is not passive, it is a declaration of your sovereignty. It is saying to the world, I know my value. I do not need to justify my existence to anyone. This mindset dismantles the power of toxic voices that once threatened to derail your progress. Instead of giving away your energy, you conserve it, channeling it towards self-improvement and resilience. Recognize that not everyone will understand your journey, and that is perfectly okay. The opinions of those who cannot see your vision or respect your boundaries do not define your reality. Your commitment is to yourself first and foremost. This means setting firm boundaries around who you allow into your emotional space. It means being selective with your time and energy, investing only in relationships that uplift and inspire you. By protecting your inner world, you create a sanctuary where your growth can flourish uninterrupted. This sanctuary becomes the foundation for sustained success and happiness. When you stop explaining yourself, you also cultivate confidence. Confidence born not from external praise but from an unshakable belief in your own path. This confidence radiates outward, influencing every interaction and decision. People sense it, respect it, and respond to it. It changes how you carry yourself, how you engage with the world. You no longer shrink to fit others' expectations. Instead, you expand boldly, authentically, unapologetically. This shift is magnetic. It draws opportunities, connections, and experiences aligned with your true purpose. Choose now to release the burden of constant justification. Choose to stand firmly in your truth without apology. This choice is an act of profound self-respect, a powerful step toward freedom. The moment you decide you no longer owe explanations to anyone, you open the door to limitless possibilities. You reclaim your energy, your peace, and your power. This is your path to inner sovereignty, a place where your dreams are not hindered by doubt, where your spirit is free to soar. Hold fast to this truth and watch how your life transforms beyond what you once thought possible. True power is born in the moments when you refuse to shrink for the comfort of others. It is forged in the silence of self-trust, in the unwavering belief that your path is yours alone to walk. This power does not demand permission or seek approval. It exists beyond the noise of judgment and doubt, standing tall even when the world around you trembles. When you cultivate this inner strength, you become unstoppable, not because you are immune to fear, but because you have learned to move forward despite it. You understand that fear is simply a signal, not a stop sign. Every step you take without seeking permission is a declaration that your life is not negotiable, that your vision will not be diluted by the opinions of others. Embracing your sovereignty means understanding that your energy is your most valuable currency. Every moment spent defending your choices to those who cannot see your vision drains you, fragments your focus, and slows your momentum. The more you protect your energy by choosing silence over explanation, the stronger your foundation becomes. You create a fortress within, built on the unshakable conviction that you are enough. This conviction is not born from external achievements or accolades, but from a deep alignment with your purpose and values. When your foundation is this strong, the storms of criticism and misunderstanding cannot erode your confidence or derail your progress. There is a sacred freedom in detaching from the need to be understood by everyone. You begin to see that the world does not owe you clarity or agreement. Instead, you owe yourself peace and respect. You owe yourself the right to pursue your goals without apology or defense. This perspective is radical because it liberates you from the exhausting pursuit of universal approval. It allows you to focus on what truly matters: your growth, your health, your joy. This focus is magnetic. It draws the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences into your life naturally, without force or manipulation. The moment you fully embrace this mindset, your presence shifts. You no longer enter conversations with the weight of explanation, but with the lightness of self-assurance. Your words carry the authority of one who knows their worth, and your silence speaks volumes. You become a force that others cannot ignore, not because you are loud, but because your integrity resonates deeply. This resonance creates respect, not fear or resentment. It creates connection rooted in authenticity, rather than obligation. Your energy aligns with your truth, and this alignment is felt by everyone around you. Choosing not to explain yourself is an act of radical self-love. It means prioritizing your well-being over the discomfort of others' confusion. It means trusting that your true allies will understand without needing every detail. It means stepping into your power fully, without hesitation or doubt. This choice transforms your life from a constant battle for acceptance into a journey of authentic self-expression. It clears the path for you to become the person you were always meant to be, free, focused, and fiercely committed to your own growth. Hold on to this power tightly. Nurture it daily by refusing to dilute your truth or diminish your light. Let go of the need to justify your existence or your decisions. When you do, you will discover that the energy you reclaim fuels not only your success but also your peace. You will rise above the noise, standing firmly in the knowledge that your life is yours alone to live, boldly, unapologetically, and without compromise. This is where true freedom begins. When you finally release the need to explain yourself, you unlock a profound shift in how you experience the world and yourself. It is not just an act of withholding words. It is a declaration of your self-worth that transcends validation from others. You begin to inhabit a space where your energy is sacred and your time is precious. This choice rewires your mind to focus solely on what nurtures your growth instead of draining it. You recognize that every moment spent defending your existence or decisions to those unwilling to see your truth is a moment stolen from your purpose. The clarity that comes with this realization sharpens your focus and fortifies your resolve. You no longer allow the noise of misunderstanding or judgment to blur your vision. Instead, you anchor yourself deeply in the certainty of your path. This mindset demands courage because it means standing alone with your truth, unshaken by the need for external approval. Yet, within that solitude, you discover an unmatched power, the power of self-possession. You become the author of your narrative, writing with boldness and intention, free from the shadows of doubt cast by others. This freedom ignites a fire within you, a relentless drive that refuses to be diminished by skepticism or criticism. The more you embody this strength, the more your inner world aligns with your outer reality. You stop bending to fit the expectations of others and start shaping your life with deliberate action and unwavering belief. This alignment creates an unstoppable momentum that propels you forward, regardless of obstacles or opposition. Your presence begins to change. You no longer feel compelled to justify your choices or explain your journey. Instead, you radiate a quiet confidence that commands respect. People sense the depth of your conviction and the authenticity of your purpose. This presence is magnetic because it is rooted in truth, not performance. It inspires others to honor their own paths without interference. You become a beacon of clarity and strength in a world often clouded by confusion and doubt. This influence is not achieved through force, but through the undeniable energy of one who refuses to settle for anything less than their highest self. Your silence, once feared as weakness, becomes your most powerful statement. The liberation you experience by releasing the need to explain yourself is transformational. It shifts your focus from external validation to internal empowerment. It cultivates resilience, teaching you to weather criticism without losing your center. It nurtures peace, allowing you to move through life with grace rather than resistance. This peace is a sanctuary where your dreams can take root and flourish unimpeded by the voices of doubt. You realize that your time and energy are too valuable to waste on justifications that serve no purpose. This awareness fuels a deeper commitment to your growth and well-being, transforming every decision into an act of self-love. As you embody this truth more fully, you reclaim your power to choose who you show up for and how you engage with the world. You become discerning, protecting your energy fiercely, understanding that not everyone deserves a place in your story. This discernment is not born from fear or mistrust, but from profound self-respect. It frees you from the exhausting cycle of trying to please everyone and allows you to invest deeply in what truly matters. With each choice to honor yourself, you build a life that reflects your highest values and deepest desires. You step into a realm where your presence alone is enough, where your silence speaks louder than any explanation ever could. The moment you embrace the power of selective engagement, your entire existence shifts into a new frequency of strength and clarity. It is no longer about the quantity of your interactions, but the quality of your presence. You learn that your energy is a finite resource, and how you choose to allocate it defines the course of your life. Guarding your peace becomes a sacred act, a declaration that you will no longer be a passive recipient of chaos or negativity. Instead, you become the vigilant architect of your environment, cultivating spaces and relationships that elevate and sustain you. This discipline transforms your daily experience from a battlefield of defenses into a sanctuary of intentionality and calm. This intentional focus rewires your brain and emotions. Each choice to disengage from unnecessary explanations and justifications fortifies your resilience. You build mental muscles that shrug off judgment and doubt, refusing to internalize the projections of others. This growing resilience does not make you indifferent, it makes you invincible. You become unshakable in your commitment to your truth because your foundation is no longer built on the shifting sands of approval, but on the solid rock of self-acceptance. This acceptance does not excuse complacency but fuels relentless growth. It frees you to innovate, to create, to pursue your highest ambitions without the chains of approval seeking holding you back. As your inner world strengthens, your outer world reflects this transformation. The people who once demanded explanations find themselves met with a serene detachment that disarms their need to control or question. Your silence is not emptiness, it is power. It communicates a confidence so deep that words become redundant. You begin to understand that the loudest voice in any room is not the one constantly defending itself, but the one calmly rooted in unwavering certainty. This presence commands respect effortlessly. It invites admiration without solicitation and dissolves conflict without confrontation. The world shifts around you, responding to the energy you carry rather than the narratives you attempt to justify. Within this space of unassailable self-possession, you cultivate freedom on a level few ever experience. Freedom from the exhausting need to explain, from the drain of defending your choices, from the constant pursuit of approval. This freedom is not a passive state but an active, fierce stance that says, I am enough. It is a daily commitment to honor your boundaries and preserve your energy. You learn that every no you speak to distractions and external demands is a yes spoken to your soul's deepest calling. This alignment magnifies your impact and accelerates your progress. When you no longer dilute your focus by justifying your existence, you channel all your power into becoming the fullest expression of who you were meant to be. This profound shift creates a ripple effect through every aspect of your life. Decisions become clearer because they are filtered through the lens of self-respect rather than fear. Relationships become more authentic because they are no longer based on the need to explain or defend, but on mutual understanding and respect. Your work becomes more meaningful because it is driven by passion, not validation. The tension that once held you hostage dissolves into a profound sense of peace and purpose. You become the embodiment of strength through silence, mastery through restraint, and power through presence. This transformation is not just a change in behavior but a rebirth of your inner authority, forever altering how you move through the world. Every step you take away from the need to explain yourself is a step toward reclaiming your personal power. This power is not found in the approval of others, but in the sovereignty of your own mind and spirit. The moment you refuse to justify your choices to those who do not respect your boundaries, you erect invisible walls that protect your peace. These walls are not barriers to connection, they are safeguards of your clarity and focus. By deciding where your energy flows, You no longer allow external noise to infiltrate your inner world. This intentional redirection is a radical act of self-love, one that breeds confidence and fierce independence. When you release the burden of explaining every action, every feeling, every decision, you free yourself from a cycle of constant defense. This freedom ignites a clarity of purpose that illuminates your path like a beacon. The space created by silence is not empty. It is fertile ground for growth and transformation. In this space, doubts lose their grip, and fears shrink in the light of your unwavering self-trust. The absence of compulsive justification reveals the truth. You do not owe anyone an explanation for being authentically you. Your energy belongs to your dreams, your values, and your vision for life. Holding on to this truth nurtures an unbreakable foundation from which unstoppable progress emerges. Every time you resist the urge to explain, you reinforce a profound psychological truth. Your self-worth is inherent and unconditional. It does not require validation through narratives or defenses. This realization disrupts the old patterns of insecurity and people-pleasing that have held you captive. It rewires your mindset to prioritize your own needs and desires without guilt. The power of this shift is immense. It redefines your relationship with yourself and with the world. You move with a quiet authority that commands respect without demanding it. Others sense this energy and respond accordingly. Your boundaries become a magnetic force, attracting respect, admiration, and genuine connection instead of confusion and conflict. By embracing the discipline of selective engagement, you cultivate an inner fortress that cannot be breached by criticism or misunderstanding. This fortress is built on the pillars of self-respect, emotional intelligence, and unwavering purpose. Inside it, you discover a wellspring of peace that no external circumstance can shake. This peace is not complacency. It is the strength to stand firm in your truth amid chaos. It empowers you to act decisively, speak intentionally, and live authentically. Your energy is no longer scattered on futile explanations, but concentrated on building the life that reflects your highest potential. This shift transforms obstacles into stepping stones and challenges into opportunities for growth. The power of choosing silence over explanation redefines your entire existence. It liberates you from the exhausting cycle of seeking approval and defending your worth. It sharpens your focus on what truly matters and deepens your connection to your purpose. Your life becomes a testament to the strength found in stillness and the courage discovered in restraint. This transformation is a declaration. You are no longer available for the doubts, judgments, or confusion of others. You are fully present, fully committed, and fully in control of your destiny. This is the essence of true freedom, the freedom to be unapologetically yourself, fully alive and fiercely unstoppable.